Let me show you guys something real quick. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is actually a commission that I got from state funds for $20,000. And I'm gonna go ahead and share the story of how I was able to go ahead and get this. So maybe it might motivate you guys, or you guys can go ahead and implement the same strategies that I use so you guys can do it too. If you guys wanna know some questions like if your state actually does state funds or how much the commission is, go ahead into my Instagram, DansBiz101, send me a DM. We'll go ahead and try to figure out if your state actually does state funds. If they don't do state funds, we'll let you know the commission or whatnot. And there's a lot of states that are very hard to work with, so there's some states that we won't have that information. But go ahead and DansBiz101, we'll help you guys out over there. Now let's get back to the video, okay? What state funds is basically lost property. And it's not property like a house, it's not property like a car. The type of property it might be old paychecks that you never received, or maybe some old stocks. Maybe it was some type of inheritance that they never received. A type of client that I love to work with is people that never received their taxes. So what actually happens is they never receive these funds. The company that is holding these funds legally can't just keep it for themselves, so they'll go ahead and send it off to the state. Now what the state does is they'll keep it in their treasury's office, and they'll go ahead and try to inform the property owner that they have funds due. But a lot of times people think it's a scam, or maybe the property owner went ahead and moved, so they don't even know that they're getting these type of letters. This is where we come and play. This is how we can go ahead and make these big commissions. We'll go ahead and find the property, and then we'll go ahead and find the property owner, get a contract signing that they'll give us 10% of the commission if we're able to go ahead and unlock their property over to them. And after they go ahead and sign that paperwork, we'll go ahead and get that same paperwork and send it off to the state. I know some questions that you guys are already thinking. Why can't they just do that themselves? Why would they pay us a commission? And what if they think it's a scam? We're gonna go ahead and answer those questions as well. So let's answer the first two. Why would they wanna work with us? It's because one, either they don't know that they're owed those funds. So let me give you an example of some clients that I got. They knew that they were owed those funds, but they never received it. Time flew by, and guess what happened? They thought, oh well, I guess I'm not getting those funds, which isn't the case. I'll give them a call. I'll go ahead and explain where their funds were at. Now, I won't tell them exactly where the funds are at, because then that would be killing our business, because they can go ahead and do it themselves. I'll just go ahead and let them know exactly where their funds were and how I can go ahead and retrieve it. For example, let's say they did their taxes and they never received their money. Now I can go ahead and tell them that these funds were from taxes. They'll know about it, a little light bulb will go in their head, and they'll think, oh yeah, I was owed those funds, but I never received it. And this is how you go ahead and build rapport with them. Now all you have to do is go ahead and position yourself as a professional, and after that it's a closed deal. They're more willing to work with you the more knowledge that you have and the more professional you seem. There was times where people would just throw me all their information and try to go ahead and get these deals closed as quick as possible, because they're just trying to receive their funds that they know it was owed to them. So hopefully that makes sense of what state funds is. Now let me explain how I was able to get that $20,000 from the state funds deal. Now with this type of deal, it was a little bit more difficult. The reason I say that is because what I usually like to do with state funds is I try to go for the low-hanging fruit. But the thing about chasing these low-hanging fruit deals is, yes, they're more simple, but the size of the deal is going to be smaller. And the reason for this is because a lot of people, a lot of the experts are not going to go ahead and try to chase those low-hanging fruits. And I'm talking about the $1,000 to $5,000. And you see, that was my strategy at the beginning, is chasing those deals and just trying to get as much as possible. Now that's a good strategy, but what I decided to go ahead and change my business model is to go ahead and start chasing the bigger deals. Now you only have to work with one client and get one deal to close to go ahead and get a way bigger spread. Now I used to get 5K, 2K, 3K deals, but I used to put way more effort into chasing those deals because I'm dealing with way more people, and when you deal with more people, more complications happen. But now what happens when you go ahead and work with just one client for a bigger spread, it's going to be a little bit more complex, but at the end of the day, you're gonna go ahead and make a bigger profit. And as soon as I found out about that, I decided to go ahead and chase the bigger deals. Now, when I was searching for the owner of these funds, I went ahead and got in contact with the owner's daughter. While talking to the owner's daughter, I found out that the actual owner was deceased, which is going ahead and make this deal a little bit more complicated. Now, when you have a deceased, you're gonna have to go ahead and prove that the owner is actually deceased. You're gonna have to go ahead and prove that you're trying to release these funds to the heir being his daughter. And if there's multiple children, now this is just gonna make the process way more complicated. But like I told you guys, the more complicated it is, the bigger commission is gonna be for us, because a lot of people passed up on this opportunity because as soon as they found out that the actual owner was deceased, they threw their hands up in the air and decided that they're just gonna quit and move on to the next client. But in my situation, I decided to go ahead and work this deal. Not only was I gonna learn some more information, but the next time I actually got a client that was in a similar situation, now I actually have the skill set to go ahead and get their funds released, just because I went ahead and did it the hard way. I got my hands a little dirty. I got myself a little uncomfortable. Now I'm able to close any type of deal dealing with a deceased family member. So with this deal, it got a little complicated. I sent the paperwork over to the state. It got rejected. They sent it back. I went ahead and I edited it. I went and sent it again. It got rejected one last time. I went ahead and sent it back, and guess what? Got approved. Now the next step was to go ahead and just wait and just keep my client informed. Keep her updated with the process, because that's another key thing, because there is going to be a waiting time, because during that waiting time, the state is going to go ahead and start processing all that paperwork, make sure everything checks out okay. But as soon as they go ahead and process all that paperwork, they'll go ahead and send the owner a check, and they'll go ahead and send us a check. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit more clear. Now in California, they'll go ahead and split the checks, send you your check, and then send your client their check. You don't have to go ahead and actually chase your client to go ahead and pay you. But that's not the case in all states. In some states, especially down south, those southern states, you're gonna have to go ahead and actually chase your client. This is why I always tell my students to actually get a contract between them, because now if anything happens, if they try to run away, you have a legally binding contract and you can go and chase them down for your funds. This doesn't really happen too often, but it does happen. Some people do get their funds. They believe it's just owed to them. This is why I like dealing with states that split it for you and your client doesn't see the profit you make, because at times, like this $20,000 profit from an inheritance can make your client a little bit uncomfortable. But if you just let your client know in the beginning, hey, you know, I'm gonna be making a 10% commission. Are you totally fine with that? If you're not, you can always work with someone else. But if you always just stage yourself as a professional, if you go ahead and let them know that you know what you're doing and that you can get the job done, they're most likely gonna wanna work with you. Why? Because they don't know exactly the process to go ahead and get these funds released. They don't want their funds to just be sitting at the state. They'll rather just lose that 10% and pay you, cut their losses, and keep their own profit. Now in this case, like I mentioned, it was a nice commission, but the client got a nice commission too. So if you guys had any more questions about state funds, I'll be more than happy to answer. Go ahead to my Instagram. It's gonna be Dan's Biz 1-on-1. Ask us any questions, say what's up, go follow us. If you found this video any type of useful, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. But if you're interested in joining some type of course, you can go ahead and, you know, send us a DM, course, state funds course, over to my Instagram. We'll go ahead and get you set. But we're gonna be releasing more videos about state funds, so just in case you're interested, you know, we're gonna be dropping a lot of gems. So stay subscribed, put the notification button, and I'll see you guys later. All right, peace.